Hey, what's cracking? How are you doing today? I hope this video finds you doing well, man. I hope you're on top of the world. If this is the first time you've ever watched one of my videos, my name's Ricky Dye, and I went to prison when I was 15 years old. And I didn't get out until I was 34, almost 35, 20 and a half years. And it was in all the roughest places, medium and maximum security. I never went to a minimum or anything. And it was terrible. I lost so many years of my life, and I hurt the people that I loved, and I hurt people I didn't even know. And I can never go back and change that or make that right in any way. But what I can do, and what I'm trying to do with these videos, is reach out and touch some kid, some young person, or any person, regardless of your age, that is thinking about making the wrong decision that will put them in a worse place in their life. To hopefully they'll watch one of these videos and think about the consequences before they do it. Think about some of the things I went through and not do that. Or if someone's thinking about committing suicide and they're down on their life and they're looking around at the things they don't have that everyone else has, to maybe try to help them change their perspective, because in this life, perspective is everything. And so I always like to start these videos off by doing that, by taking a moment and unplugging the emotions and thinking about a few ways in our life that we're blessed, things that we're thankful for. Most people will usually pick another person, almost always. But you have so many blessings that you don't even realize. For 99% of human history, we didn't have the things we have now. 20 years ago, we didn't have the things we have now. That cell phone you walk around with in your pocket has more information on it than any human had ever before you. If you broke a cell phone out like that 100 years ago, I'd think you was a wizard or something, man. Life was hard. We didn't have time to think about the things we think about nowadays and get depressed because we were too busy trying to survive. And that's what we were designed for and made for. And nowadays, things are just too easy for us. And I know you think, oh, easy. Well, the thing is, you don't have to get up in the morning and hunt your breakfast hoping that you ain't breakfast, is what I mean by that. I'm not saying that life isn't hard, because all of us have problems. And another thing I've realized is that a 15-year-old's problems are as real to them as a man's are who is on death row. So your problems are real, and by no way do I want to belittle that. But what I want to do is get you to think about changing your perspective a little bit. And maybe by the time you finish listening to my stories, maybe you'll think that your life is a little better than you thought it was. Because there really are a lot of things in your life to be blessed for that you don't think about. If you're watching this video, then you're not starving to death. And for some humans, for most of history, that was a very real problem, that they could starve to death. But you don't have to worry about that today. But you look around and see these things that other people have that you don't have, and it's easy to get down on life. But you can also look around and see things that people have that are less than what you have. And that makes you look at things a little better. And if you can change your perspective, you can change your day. So what I want to talk about today, I want to talk about my blessing. I'm going to hit fast forward, and I'm going to go all the way close to the end of my story. And I want to tell you about when I met my wife. Okay. Tomorrow we'll share our 13th wedding anniversary. I want to thank John Hood Adams. He sent some money as a wedding gift. Thank you, John. Really appreciate it. Um, I don't even know what to say sometimes. I don't know how to take people giving me stuff. Most all my life, anyone who tried to give me anything was out to get something from me. Always. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everyone was out to get me all the time. And so when I get out here and I'm around all these good people, people who want to support you when you try to do something good, it blows my mind. Every one of you guys who have hit that subscribe button, all the comments you guys have gave me, talking to me on Messenger, every bit of it, man. I want to thank every one of you guys, because you have really changed my life. I don't have time for any negative thoughts because I'm too busy doing this stuff. And just like I told you, when you pretend to be something all the time, you become that. And when I wake up every day and someone makes a comment to me and I answer them and I want to make sure I sound positive and good, then that's how I portray myself. And before you know it, that's how I feel all the time. And you can do that too. You can get up in the morning and put on a smile, even if it's fake at the beginning, and fake that smile and pretend that you're happy. Every day you get up and pretend that you're happy. And before you know it, it'll be real. You'll be happy. And I promise you that's true. Just try it for 30 days. You get up every day for 30 days and tell yourself you're happy. Get up and tell yourself you're happy, regardless of your circumstances. You get up and say, I'm happy, and I'm going to be happy today. And you force a smile, whether you feel that way or not. And you cannot make it a month without it being real. And I wish that for every one of you guys. And I want to thank everyone who support me. I have to say John Doe again. If he quits helping so much, I can quit saying his name. Thank you, John. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to meeting you, brother. You seem to be a really good guy to me. And so I'm going to get back to my story. I'm going to talk to you about my wife because tomorrow's my anniversary, but it's still part of my prison story because you see, my wife was a guard at the last prison I was at. And she hates for me to tell this story because she feels like she done something wrong being a guard messing with an inmate. And yes, she did. She did break the rules. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Shouldn't have done that. But here's the thing. In my opinion, women shouldn't work at a man's prison. Because when you have a yard that has 800, 1,000 guys on it, some of those yards 1,500 and 2,000 guys on it, and you put a woman there, these guys have nothing to do but sit around and think about how to get her attention. Nothing to do but that. And she's still a woman. And out of all these guys, there's going to be someone who appeals to them. There's just no way around that. And maybe they shouldn't do it, but you have to remember this. That is a job. But this is your life. And that's what I told her when I kept coming on to her. Look, I know that you got a job. I know you're not supposed to do this, but I'm about to get out of prison. I've been in prison for over 20 years, and I'm about to get out, and I'm going to start a whole new life. And you can do the same thing. You could start a new life with me and you. And she says, no, I have too much baggage. I have too much baggage. And I said, hey, man, just leave it. Forget it all. You just come with me. I'll take care of you. We'll start new. And she didn't believe that for a long time. It took me about a month of hitting on her every single day to finally go along with, okay, maybe I'll be your girlfriend. So I want to tell you how that went. So what I was doing before I got out, I was being an idiot still. Shouldn't have been playing cards. I was too close to going home. Shouldn't have been playing poker. But everyone loves to play poker and you get bored. So I was running the poker game for something to do, pass the time waiting to go home. For the first time ever, when I got to Crabtree, I was within 6 months of going home. It was finally real for the first time ever. Every time before, I would be within 2 years or a year, and then something would happen. I'd get in trouble, lose good time, and start all over. But this time, I was at Crabtree, and I was on level 4. Highest level you can be on, getting 44 extra days a month to go with the 30 I did. And at that rate, I had 6 months left before I would discharge my sentence. That 22 in and 12 out. The 22 that I had in, within 6 months, I would finish it all. And it would take me 20 and a half years. I only had a year and a half of good time built up after all that time. I should have went home a long time ago, but I kept getting myself in trouble. So I get to Crabtree, and I'm there about a month. And I see her walking across the yard one day, and I'm sitting with a buddy of mine, a black dude named KP. And we're sitting there, and I see her walk across the yard, and I said, there goes my future wife. And I never even talked to her. But then one evening comes, and we're playing, I want to play poker, and we're trying to find the way you have to do it is there's, on Crabtree's unit 4, 5, 6, and then there's unit 3. And unit 6 has cells, but you can't get up there, man. They really closely watch that unit. And at Crabtree, it's unlike almost every other yard in the system. The only ones that are still this way are Joseph Harp and Lexington. And that is, there's no movement times. In the morning, when you get out of your cell at 6 o'clock until count, you can go anywhere on the yard. You don't have to wait for a movement time or anything. If you want to go to the gym or out on the yard, if it's open, you can go. Or the library, you can go out on the yard and go to another unit and have someone go in and get your buddy, and he can come out and y'all can sit out on the yard and talk. Until count time, you got to go back to your unit and your cell for count. And so you get more freedom at Crabtree than anywhere else. And because I got in trouble early on in my sentence, the battery on a staff I told you about at Lexington, that was called an 04-8. It was a battery on a staff with injury, and it carried 13 points for the remainder of your sentence, 13 security points. Well, 13 points is what it takes to put you in maximum security. So for the rest of my time, I would be a maximum security inmate by my points, by my security points. But I had an override to get me back into medium security. Now, here I am. I've done almost all my time. They can't send me to a minimum because my points are too high. But I've been locked up so long, they were trying to get me somewhere where I could kind of graduate down to what freedom would be like. Because I've been at Granite now. I got in a fight with a guy and got locked up. But I'll tell you about that later. But I've been locked up for over 20 years, and most of it's been locked down solitary confinement in the real rough places where you're locked down all the time. And now they're about to kick me back out to freedom. They don't want me to go home, but they can't hold me anymore. I've done all my time. So I'm here, man, this is like being free to me. I'm running all over the yard. Boy, I'm having me a heyday. And so it's after dinner time, and I want to open the poker game. And I'll go to Crabtree later on when I end my story. But this is about my wife. So first time I met her, I went to her unit, and we couldn't find a unit to go to because you have to find a guard that says it's okay, will let you play. So, because it's a write up, it's a Class A write up. If you get caught playing cards, I shouldn't even be doing it. I can lose my good time on my level and not go home doing this. But I'm an idiot by now. So she's working the unit, and I go up to her and I say, "Hey, can we play poker on the unit?" I said, "Look, I'm on level 4. I showed her my badge. I'm on level 4. I'm fixing to go home in a few months, 5 months, and there will be no trouble. I give you my word. If there is, you can write me up and take my level." And she said, "Well, if you're about to go home, I don't want to write you up." And she just started working there. She hadn't worked at the guard very long at all. People were taking advantage of her because she was too nice. She shouldn't have been working there. She's too nice of a person. She's not hard enough to enforce the rules. And when I'm talking to her, I notice she has a wedding ring on. So she's off limits for me. I grew up real religious in the Bible, and you don't break apart what God put together. So absolutely wasn't going to mess with that. But she let us play poker, so she was nice. So I went on. And a couple months goes by, and her sister worked there too. Her sister was a sergeant. She just started, so she was just a CO. And her ex-husband, her first husband, was there, and he was like a lieutenant. He was high up, and he was a real butthole, man. And so, but word got around the yard that she was going through a divorce. So one day she's working on my unit, and I walked up there because I thought she was really pretty. And one day I walked up there, and she didn't have a wedding ring on anymore. And I said, "I noticed you. Where's your wedding ring at?" "Oh, I lost my jewelry." I said, "You lost all your jewelry?" "Yeah, I lost it all." I said, "You sure?" So I heard you're going through a divorce. "Yeah, I'm going through a divorce." And one thing led to another, day after day. When I would see what unit she's on, I go try to talk to her, see what unit she's on. Then they started putting her on my unit a lot. So I started talking to her all the time. And after about a month, I convinced her to let me call her on the phone. And what I would do is a three-way call. You can't make a three-way call when you're in jail or in prison. What happens is if they detect a three-way call, the call will hang up immediately. But no matter what, all calls are still recorded. So what I would do is I would call my mom. I said, "Mom, I got this girl I want to talk to." My mom didn't know it was a guard. And I said, so I would call my mom and I would ask her to call this girl for me. And what she would do is act like she would say, "Hold on, let me go get her." And she'd act like she was setting the phone down, and that's what the click was. But really, she was making a three-way. But she wouldn't click over while it was ringing because then it would catch it. So she'd wait till she answered and then say, "Here she is, Ricky." And then she would start talking. So we had her using the name Mary and the last name Jane. She was Mary Jane, and I was Batman. And we're writing these letters to each other, and I've got her using my mom's address for return address and stuff, so no one knows. So we're writing each other letters so that because we can't talk all the time. She's at work, we'll get in trouble. And I'm calling and talking to her on the phone all the time, but we're not saying anything foul or anything. We're just talking about things we're going to do when I get out. You know what I mean? Nothing illegal. I didn't want to do anything illegal. I wasn't trying to get her to bring me anything or anything like that. We weren't trying to have sex or kiss. We weren't breaking no rules because we wanted to get out, be around each other. So that's going on. And there's a few people that know about it. There's this one black dude who's a real good friend of mine, and he's keeping jigger for us while we're talking stuff, telling us if her ex-husband's coming, because if he seen me talking to her, he would throw a fit. So he would stand out in front of the unit. And if I was in there talking to her, he'd just out there hanging out. And if he saw that guy coming, he'd come and say, "Hey, man, dude's coming around here." So I quit talking to her. I go on. So, but there's this other black guy, and he never leaves his bed. And his bed is right there by the office. And he sees me talking to her all the time. And he gets to talking to me, and I thought he was all right. It's a black dude. And he knows that we're talking, me and her, and we're going to be together when I get out. So I'm living on the unit 4 where she's working a lot, and then unit 6 is kind of like they're starting having problems. Too many people coming in. They didn't have enough beds for everyone. And I was in this program on unit 4, but I wasn't gonna have time to finish the program before I went home. So really, I was just taking up space, and they had people waiting to get in this program. It was to help people learn to do checks, write checks, keep a bank account, how to deal with things when they got out of prison. But I wasn't going to be there long enough to finish it. So on unit 6, it's cells, but out in the middle of the day room, they've got these bunk beds set up. Old army beds, bunk beds set out in the middle of the day room. And people just got a locker next to it, steel locker sitting next to it. And they got people laying out in the middle of the day room. But it's come down to I only have a little bit of time. Like, got 2 weeks left, and they moved me up there on one of them bunk beds in the middle of the day room. And I've got this real nice Nike watch, and it costs like 130, 40 bucks. That's expensive in prison. And there's this black dude that lays on. I'm on the top bunk. There's a black dude on the top bunk next to me, and I've known this guy since I was like 17 years old when I first came in. So I've known him for 17, 18 years now. We're good friends. Older black man. And I'm laying there, and I've laid my book down, and I'm taking me a nap. And this black dude that lived down there on 4 by me, that knew about me and that guard, he thinks I'm asleep, and my locker's open, and he opens my locker and takes that Nike watch. And the black dude laying on the bunk next to me sees it, but this guy don't think that that guy will tell me because I'm white. But he don't realize that with me it ain't like that, man. I have so many black friends, Indian friends, Mexican friends, because treat people like they treat me, man. And that's just all there is to that. And I've done a lot of people favors. And as soon as he walks out, this guy wakes me up and tells me what happened. So I go looking for this dude, and he's hiding, I guess. But eventually, here he comes, and he don't have my watch with me. He comes walking up, laughing, saying that he got it. He was just playing. Well, then where's my watch? Well, it's down at my bunk. So, well, you need to go get it. So I go down there with him. We'll get my watch back. And I say, it wasn't no joke, dude. You think you could just take my watch? If dude wouldn't have told me you'd kept the watch, you'd think I won't do nothing because I ain't got much time left. I might only have 2 weeks left, but we're going to go up in this cell and I'm going to whoop you. So his buddy speaks up and says, man, you ain't going to do nothing, homie. And I'm like, yeah, you're next then. So I'm about to fight both these dudes, one after the other. And all of a sudden, the guards can get me and lock me up. Well, these guys went and told on me and that girl. They went on told on me and my wife. Told them what we were doing. So they went and listened to the phone calls, seen that we were talking on the phone, locked me up immediately. Now, at the time when this happened, my wife was having a knee operation. She had injured her knee during training for DOC training. Her knee and her insurance to get getting her knee replaced. So during this time, she's off for 30 days to get that done when they lock me up and find out about us. So I have no way to call my mom and give her a warning. I can't tell any of my friends to warn her. There's nothing I can do. They locked me up, and they had a rule for no guards to come around me because they were afraid of retribution from her ex-husband or her sister. So the guards couldn't come around me either. I'm fixing to go home, so all of a sudden they start saying, trying to charge her with rape or something. If she's done anything with me, touched me at all, that's statutory rape. Also, they're saying she could damage my mind. I've been in here since I was a little kid. She's in a power position over me. She could damage my mind, basically mentally rape me or whatever. But I'm telling them, it wasn't even like that, man. We were just talking about what we were going to do when we get out. We've never touched, and she didn't do anything. It was me chasing her. And I would have never told them that because I told her, no matter what they tell you if we get caught, no matter what they say, I have not admitted to nothing. No matter what they tell you, don't admit to nothing because they're lying, telling you I've said it, but I didn't. I didn't admit to it. But the only reason I admitted we were talking is because they played the recording to me of us talking. And the night after her surgery, she was high on the drugs in the hospital. She was loony and didn't know what she was saying. And she said her granddaughter's name and her daughter's name. There was no doubt it was us talking. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So the only thing I could do, I figured, is tell them something so they wouldn't imagine what they wanted. It's better maybe to lead their train of thought than to let them imagine what they might come up with. So I said, look, I approached her. I'm fixing to get out. So I've been hitting on her, telling her I wanted to talk to her when I got out. And that's all it is talk. I've never touched her. And it wasn't her chasing me. It was me chasing her. If you've got the phone calls, you know it was me chasing her. So she ain't done nothing. If you want to fire her, whatever you can. She was just practice for me anyway. I'm fixing to get out. You think I'm really going to hook up with a guard? So I'm doing everything I can to get her out of trouble. But when she comes up there, she tells them that ain't her. They didn't play her the recording, so she can't hear it. She don't hear what I hear. She just remembers what I told her, that no matter what, don't admit to it. So she ain't admitting to nothing. So come time for me to get out, I was real worried that I wouldn't get out because they could have got me for that, for coming on to staff and stuff. But the way they had it was I was the victim. So usually when you go to lockup on investigation, as soon as you go, you get dropped to level 1. If they dropped me to level 1 with 2 weeks to go, I wouldn't get that extra 22 days good time I'd get for that half a month. So I wouldn't go home on that day. And I'll say, put me on investigation. That 22 days gives them time to give me a write-up find me guilty and take good days, and they could keep me in there for up to that full 22 years over this. But they've decided I'm the victim. They're trying to get her, but I'm not going to let them get her. So come time for me to get out, we ain't said nothing to each other. I don't know if I'm going to get out the day that I'm supposed to get out or not. No one will tell me. The guards won't tell me. I get a letter from my mom. Her and my sister's talking, trying to find out, but they can't find out for sure. Everything they know, as far as they know, I'm still coming home. So all that night before, I'm walking back and forth in the cell all night. I can't sleep, wondering if I'm going home in the morning. So someone had told me I was. Other people told me I might not. So I don't know if I'm going home or not. I was in solitary confinement for the last 2 weeks. I was locked up, wondering if I'm going home or not. Didn't know if I was going home. Didn't know if they got her. Didn't know if she'd want anything to do with me now. I had no idea. So it was stress all the way up to the very end. So she was supposed to be with my family on the day I got out, if I got out. So the day comes and they come and get me out of my cell. And before you leave, they take you around to everybody at the prison. And they say, have you sign off at the library if you have any books? Have you sign off at the laundry and give you back your laundry bag? Everywhere that you had anything, you sign off for everybody. You has to sign off on your stuff. Property room, the warden, everybody has to sign this sheet of paper before you can go home. Go to medical. They sign off, give you the rest of your prescriptions, whatever you had. They don't give you no refills, but whatever was left in your bottles, you take with you. And so I'm going around doing all that, so I know I'm going home. And I get up there and I get dressed out, and I'm looking out there and I see my mom and my brothers and my sister. She drove down from Texas. And they got a van, and both my brothers are there, and my mom and my sister and my stepdad, but my wife's not there. So we get out there, and my wife's going to meet me. My wife's going to meet me halfway. So she was still going to meet me. My mom was telling her, I don't know if you ought to do this, because the police said if they catch y'all around each other, they were trying to bluff us into not being together. Telling her sister was a sergeant, was telling her in the background when I got out and I called her. Her sister's telling her in the background that I might have a wire. They don't know. She's just trying to protect her sister. Dad didn't want nothing to do with me. Her whole family, don't bring me around. Keep your convict away. Everyone was against us. Everyone. We had people making up stuff. Her ex-husband, of course, hated me for that. He thought I was the reason for the divorce. I absolutely was not. Would not have stepped between that. She swore to me that was over, or I wouldn't have had anything to do with her. But it was several times they had broke up, and it had been a deal that gone a long time. I really believed that was over. So, of course, he hated me, and he was saying things to her dad and her brothers, and everyone was pretty much against me except for her brothers. Her sister was all right with me. After she seen I wasn't trying to get her sister in trouble, of course. But you can't blame them for wanting to take care of their sister, and her dad for wanting to protect her daughter. She was running off with a murderer, then got her fired. She ended up getting charges put on her for lying to that investigator. When he asked if it was her, she kept saying, it's not me, it's not me. So they couldn't get us for anything else. So they got her a felony misdemeanor for lying to a federal investigator during a federal investigation, because she denied it was her, that she was having something to do with me. She denied it, and they have proof with the phones. So the reason I changed and became a good man was because of my wife, and this is why. When I got ready, getting close to get out of prison, all I did all the time was exercise. So I've never been one to toot my own horn, but I had a good build. I weighed 205 pounds, about 5'10". I done 1,000 push-ups every other day, 250 pull-ups. Today I didn't do 1,000 push-ups. I ran 6 miles and 3 miles a day off, 6 miles, 3 miles a day off. Played basketball all the time. I was in great shape. And I've been locked up for 20 years. The whole time I'm locked up, all these other guys are telling me how good looking I am, how attractive I am. The whole time I'm in there, I have problems about how attractive I am. And I've all these guys tell me, when you get out, the girl's going to be all over you, this and that. They can smell it on you. You've been locked up all them years. I got all these big plans, man. I'm going to get out. I'm going to get me some dope, get me a bunch of dope, and I'm going to find me an older woman in every major city, and I'm going to get them to get me clothes and give me gifts and back me in poker games, because I'm good at poker, until I get me a big stake where I don't need nobody. I got me some major plans to be a major piece of crap. None of it would have worked, because I feel too bad to take anything from anyone like that. But it was the plan, to be some kind of player, gambler guy, piece of crap, waste of air. That's what I planned to be. And I met my wife, and I knew she wouldn't accept that. And I was afraid. I started praying before I got out that God would send me the right woman, because I knew if he sent me the wrong woman, and if she had a list for people for me to beat up, people who had done her wrong, and she got my feelings involved, and since I hadn't really been around women, I knew that I would really fall in love. And I thought, if I run into the wrong girl, she's going to have me right back in prison. She's going to have me doing drugs and fighting people, telling people how tough I am. And I was really hoping that I could find a woman that wouldn't do that to me, who would treat me right and wouldn't cheat on me and wouldn't have me out there getting in trouble, who would care about me enough to try to keep me out of trouble instead of sending me in it. And when I met my wife, she's never done drugs in her life. She didn't smoke. She's never done anything. She just raised her kids. And she just wasn't that kind of girl. She didn't know anything about drugs, never done marijuana or anything, never cigarettes, nothing. And I knew that she simply would not accept a guy like me, a guy that did drugs and smoked cigarettes and weed all the time and did dope and played poker all the time, run with his buddies and took advantage of people and sold drugs. I knew that she wouldn't accept that kind of man. And I wanted her. I really wanted her. I wanted her enough to give up all the rest. And if you could find someone like that in your life, you better hold on to them, man. Because she changed my life. She made me the man I am today. She made me who I am. It makes me so proud now when I see my mama, because I was so ashamed. But now when I walk in my mama's and I hug her neck, I have a smile because I feel like I've done good. I feel like I'm a good man and have a good woman. So today, that's my blessing, and that's what I'm thankful for. My wife, Monica Joyce, I love you. I love you with all my heart, and I always will. And with that, I'll kill the video. It's went long. On the next one, we're going to go from McAllister straight to Dick Connors. And I hope to see you there. And may God bless, protect, keep you and yours. Peace out.